So it seems like besides power, audio, and everything else, we always have gadgets. Your DSLR kit is not complete unless you at least hang two things off the camera.
Well, right, if you go on Facebook and Twitter and places like that, it seems like all the pro DPs and cinematographers and out there, they have these gigantic rigs with 14 bajillion things hanging off, and they, for sure make for cool pictures, but to get all that stuff on the actual, camera or the camera rig itself, you're going to have different adapters and ways of getting stuff to the camera or to a rail system or something like that.
And let's start with the simplest one here. We have a hot shoe on the camera. Chances are that's covered up. This is normally where the flash attaches. And the reason why it's called a hot shoe is because there's actually a transfer point. Now, most of the devices we're going to use for DSLR video are not going to take advantage of that, but you could easily attach things like your shotgun microphone.
Yeah, and a lot of these DSLR-specific microphones, which are great for run and gun situations, are going to attach right to that hot shoe. Now, granted, they're not going to sort of pass off data to the camera through the hot shoe. It's just literally a mounting point. This is great for attaching things like microphones, but what if I want to attach something else, maybe like an on-camera light? I mean, I only have one hot shoe here. How am I going to get other stuff onto the camera?
Well, we just adapt it. One of my favorite adapters is something like this. And this is just a Y adapter that's going to take me. And notice it's got two different heights so they don't collide. So I can now loosen that up, slide this in. And this was just a find on Amazon.com. I just typed in Y hot shoe adapter. And there's lots of different ones out there. It just slides in place.
It's amazing what you can find on Amazon.
Yep. And we'll just tighten that down.
Okay.
And there's a top screw here too that I could tighten.
Okay.
But this allows me to go ahead and slide that into place.
And then if you wanted to, you could just put your light in right there.
Yep. And let's just tighten this down here.
Okay. There we go. Be careful there, your light's not all that secure yet.
That's fine. Go ahead and tighten the light down.
Okay. There we go.
Yep. So now we have both devices attached. I've got a top light, which is going to work well. This is, of course, will allow me to adjust this here, except it's kind of fixed. Now, I could turn this, and this one just simply, has the ability to then swivel and reposition. So notice that the adapter in this case, going from hot shoe to light, actually has a swivel point, making it easy to adjust the light. So
in this setup, something like this is a great thing for like, ENG or news gathering or something like that, where you need to have a small sort of self-contained package and you don't want to have the bulk of, say, a rail system or a cage or something like that.
Yeah, and this is really sort of the minimal. Two mounting points, a microphone and a light. That's really going to do it for most folks if you are in a run and gun situation. I wouldn't call this ideal lighting or ideal sound, but it's a lot better than what the camera comes with. So you nailed it. News, small documentary, running and gunning. I've got this. I can go ahead and I've got it on there. We'll just tighten all that down so it's really firm. And as you tighten those, you see you got a good solid rig. So now we can move around. I could use my GorillaPod here as a grip. One of the things I like is sort of flaying that out. So now I've got two handles. And I could run and use the camera, but eventually you're going to run out of mounting points. In this case, people usually step up to a rail system.
Right, and not only mounting points too, Rich, but a setup like this also sort of changes your center of gravity and how ergonomic the kit is. And as you pointed out, a lot of people, after they sort of try to put everything they can on the camera, eventually come to a system like this, where I have a set of rails on a tripod plate like this, right? And here are the rails right here. And these rails are going to come in different lengths, right? You can get 8-inch rails, 6-inch rails, foot-long, 2-foot-long rails. It just really depends on how much stuff that you were going to put on it. Now, in this case, we just have a few simple items. I have a mounting point for the actual camera itself, and then a mounting point down here so I can put this on the tripod. And if I turn this around a little bit, you'll notice that this system actually has a follow focus unit on it. And we'll talk about follow focuses in future episodes, but a follow focus is simply a way of allowing you to adjust focus directly on the camera with not having your hand on the actual lens, and allows you to be much more accurate in how you focus the camera.
And then going off of this rail system here, we could easily do things like take the electronic viewfinder and put that on an arm to extend it.
Absolutely. I mean, these things can get really kind of beefy. You can have various arms for monitors, audio recorders, and then sort of the next step up from the basic rail system would be what a lot of people are referring to these days as cages. Now, a cage is a sort of a self-contained unit that would go around the camera itself, and it provides just a plethora of mounting points. And the cool thing that I really like about cages is that they actually have power options too on them, and sometimes even audio options. So instead of having to have various adapters, for power and that kind of stuff, you can simply plug the camera directly into the cage, with an Anton Bauer or Sony battery or whatever, and you have power right there to go. Plus you have the additional mounting points that allow you to attach things very nicely, and it's all in one sort of self-contained unit.
Now, a lot of people grumble, why do we need all this stuff? The real reason is that the DSLR camera was not exactly designed with all the video accessories in mind, but even pro video cameras have adaptions. We use rail systems on full-size video cameras.
Yep.
We use cheese plates or mounting points on the back to attach things, external power supplies. So the DSLR has it particularly bad, but this is not unheard of, and it's been used throughout the traditional film and video industry.
Yep.
So just get a kit that works for you, think about the accessories you need to add, and then you can go ahead and build it and rig it. And you're ideally going to want something that you could break down so it's easy to carry and then quickly assemble so you're ready to go and start shooting.